We're at day 4. Welcome. You're almost halfway through our 10-day challenge. How are you feeling? Your sugar cravings might start to come under control today, which is exciting. Usually that third day is kind of a big one, so you've made it to day 4, and I'm glad that you're here. Today we're going to talk about weight loss and gain, because it's a lot of people are doing the carnivore for weight loss, and that's something that's completely understandable, and we want to address it. First of all, most people will see weight loss during the first few days of the carnivore diet, like we've talked about before, because we're losing that inflammation. There are some reasons that you might not be, though. If you're taking your salt like I'm telling you to, and your body doesn't actually need as much salt as you are giving it, then your body's going to dilute that salt with water. And so that's going to have you cause water weight. And so this is just something that you'll be able to kind of regulate as you figure out what your body needs. Salt-wise or water-wise. Another thing is that you might have so much energy in the carnivore diet that you don't even realize it, but you're getting a lot more exercise. And when we get exercise, our body makes microscopic tears in our muscles, and then our body sends nutrients to those muscles in the form of blood, which increase blood volume to give those nutrients to those muscles to repair themselves and become stronger is going to cause water weight. And so this is all water weight that we're seeing right now. If you see the scale going up, it could be from extra salt, it could be from a little bit extra exercise. This isn't that you're putting on muscle yet, it's just that your body is sending the nutrients via blood, via increased blood volume. And so this is, the increased water weight is just your body, like we're always drinking water, and then obviously we eliminate water. If you are repairing your muscles and you need a little bit more blood volume, your body will hold on to a little bit more water and you won't eliminate it via urine quite as quickly. The same thing with salt. If your body needs to dilute that salt a little bit, then you're going to hold on to a little bit more water and not eliminate it via urine quite as quickly. So this isn't fat, this isn't muscle, this is all water weight still. For women, and I do have mostly women in this class, it's very rare for us to see more than like 1/10 or a quarter pound of muscle increase per month. We just don't build muscle that quickly. And that's another contributing factor to our water weight is our hormone cycle. And so if we, a lot of times as our hormones are regulating and our like reproductive hormones are regulating, even if you're not cycling, even if you've been through menopause, a lot of times your hormones will still go through a similar cycle. You just won't see your period and you won't have ovulation, but your body will still hold on to water at certain times of the month and dump water at other times of the month. As you continue on with slow and steady weight loss, and you continue this for months at a time, then you will probably see kind of a cyclical, every 28-30 days you're going to go quite a bit down in the scale. And so this is just because at some parts of our cycle more than others, our body is willing to dump the water weight associated with fat, and we're going to talk about whooshing and fat loss in a minute. And so those hormone cycles are the last reason why you may be actually gaining a pound or two. I try not to have you obsess with the scale. It's going to vary individual to individual. Like checking the scale every day is fine if it doesn't cause you anxiety or stress. If it's something that worries you and like causes a bad mental state, maybe breaking that habit and going every 10 days or every month or so and seeing what the scale says then. It's going to vary from person to person, but definitely you're not going to be losing pounds of fat overnight. You're not going to be gaining pounds of muscle overnight. Any of those day-to-day fluctuations are all water weight. It's the linear progression over time that is going to be the fat loss. That is what we want. And then lastly, let's talk about how fat loss works. And so as we are losing fat, our body burns, like takes the fat out of our cell and then uses that for energy. And once it takes the fat out, the cell, it doesn't become empty, it puts water into that cell. And so where we might see that, like we might know we're in a deficit, a calorie deficit for 10 days or a month, or even like often it's just like 10 days to 2 weeks. We'll see that we're in a calorie deficit, but that scale isn't going down. It's just because our fat cell's filled with water. And again, this is the water weight. And what can happen is something will stimulate your body. Either you're super relaxed, being in a relaxed state helps us to shed that water weight. Like your body's just holding that fat cell open in case it needs to store fat again. It's just kind of a protective measure. So like when you're at your goal weight and you're tapping into your fat reserves between meals or overnight or whatever, your body holds that open just so it can fill it back with fat for the normal healthy amount of fat that we carry at a normal body weight. But when we're trying to lose fat cells or like lose weight for good and keep it off, our body still holds it open with water for a little bit. And so there's a few ways to trigger that water to come out. And so usually your body, like something will signal to your body, hey, okay, we don't need those anymore. And you're going to lose like 3 or 4 pounds overnight. And a lot of times when that happens, you're going to end up going to the bathroom like 2 or 3 times. Like I know if I wake up to go pee, then I'm probably going to wake up with having lost 2 or 3 pounds that night. And that is actually your fat cells are emptying. That it's like technically water weight, but you already burnt that fat like a few days ago or a couple weeks ago. And so now you're just cashing in on it. And so a few ways that you can stimulate your body to release that water weight, like if you've got an event coming up and you just like to see the scale move if you're starting to get discouraged, is you can do a fast, like a 24-hour fast, and we're going to talk about fasting more in a couple days. A 24-hour fast with no food, just water, and you can take your salt as well. You can also do like a chicken broth or a beef broth fast where you're not having food in your system, and that can kind of just shake your metabolism up a little bit and your body can process out that water. You can try taking a lot of water, and water does actually have a diuretic effect. Don't take this like in excess, like definitely don't take more than a gallon of water a day because that can mess up your electrolytes. But if you just kind of want to stimulate something going on, just be mindful and drink a little bit extra water and see if you can get that whoosh to happen, that whoosh of those fat cells releasing that water. And another way that you can know that the fat cells have water and not fat in them is it changes the consistency a little bit. Like a lot of us, like I know that I gain and lose a lot of weight. If I'm going to gain weight, it's going to be in my stomach area. And I will feel before, like after I've been at a calorie deficit and when I know that those cells are filled with water, they start to feel like a little bit more firm. And it's just like the difference between if we had bubble wrap filled with fat versus bubble wrap filled with water. It's just like a little bit different consistency. And so you can kind of know that that's going to happen when those fat cells start to feel a little bit different for you. Another way that you can encourage that whoosh to happen is just to wait for that part of your cycle, and you'll, like everyone kind of has their own little part of their cycle. Like mine's right around ovulation is when I will see a whoosh a lot of times. Doing something that relaxes you and just like completing a project or getting enough sleep or going on vacation, as long as your vacations are restful and not super adventurous, that can all stimulate a whoosh of that water weight from those fat cells. So that's what we're covering today, is kind of the ins and outs of why you might gain or lose half a pound, 1 pound, 2 pounds here or there, why you're not seeing that linear progression of downward like by 1/10 or 1/15 of a pound if you're in a calorie deficit every day, and what the starts and the stops are about with weight loss on the carnivore diet.